What is going on, traders? A lot has happened today, and we got to talk about it. And I really need you guys to hear me out in this video. Like, really need you to hear me out in this video. You guys are probably going to get tired of me, probably annoyed by me, but really just walk with me, talk with me, bear with me, because a lot is happening in the background and we got to talk about it. Before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So right now we're looking at the NASDAQ 4-hour time frame, and things are looking good. I said this in the Discord. If you get above 19,000, what did I say? 19,750, 19,760, you're looking good for more upside, right? Highest we can be heading towards, at least for the immediate short term, is about 20,100. Right now, you broke above this key level here, so you broke above it. You're currently retesting it, and it looks like we could see another leg higher, right? A lot of you ask me, how do I mark my support and resistance? I mean, you see it right here, right? You rejected here, you bounced here. So you're right in the territory of these guys right here. These bulls and this bullish wick right here, that's where you are. So I imagine that these guys are going to want to carry the market, or not the market, but NQ a little bit higher, and we could possibly head towards the 20,000, 20,100 range, right? So things are looking good so far. We go to the SPY. Even the SPY looks good. You know, I can't take that away. I can't deny it. Things are looking good. We got above our key level. What key level did we talk about? We talked about 564 being our key level here. We broke, we retested it, and it looks like we could head higher. It's important to note that we do have a gap all the way at around 574, 575, give or take, and I do imagine that's where the SPY is trying to go. So as long as you stay above 564, guys, you open up the floodgates towards 574, 575. So I will be expecting a move like this, and then we'll have to see what happens from there. So again, things look good. We look at the triple Qs. 480. We talked about this. 480 was your key level. I mean, you see it right here. This is why I really try to push you guys to look at the candles, right? You broke above 480, right? And now if you just look to the left, you don't even have to be zoomed out all the way. You can look to the left and you can see where bulls are. You can see where very, very strong resistance is, or resistance now support is, right? Right here in this area. So you're in the territory of these guys right here, and you're very illiquid towards the upside. So we could be looking at a move towards 490 on the triple Qs. You broke, you retested, you actually broke, retested, and formed structure here. We're on a 2-hour time frame, by the way, and it looks like we could head higher from this point on. It's also interesting to note that a lot of you ask me in the comments, you know, do I post quant data in the Discord? Yes, I do. So today, a little bit towards close, institutions loaded up Q puts for tomorrow. They loaded up 483 puts, and they were loaded up at around where triple Qs was at 484.8. Right, so this was an hour before close, and the expiration was March 18th, which is tomorrow. So you see right here, right here. Hopefully you guys can see this right here, right here, and then you see the premium, so on and so forth. And then from about 485, I mean, triple Qs is closed at around 482. So you would have made profit had you took that play. I figure a few Discord members took that play, but yeah, I definitely post, you know, quant data, what institutions are doing in the Discord as often as I can, right? But again, back to the point, things do look good for the triple Q so far. It looks like we're just simply retesting, and we can just head higher and head towards 490. Now, there's a few things that's bothering me, and this is where I need you guys to hear me out and really walk with me, talk with me. We did calls on the SPY, right? And we probably missed out on a good amount of profit. We took profit, of course. We made like $10. It was nothing crazy. $10 per contract, nothing too crazy. But the main thing that's bothering me right now is semiconductors. We look at Nvidia, right? And I erased everything. I erased, you know, we go to the daily time frame here. I erased everything. So I really want you guys to hear me out here. So Nvidia, you have the 50 has crossed below the 200 MA. That is called a death cross. It's very rare that this happens where the 50 crosses below or even above. I guess it will happen more often above because the market is notoriously bullish, but it's very rare when the 50 crosses below the 200 MA. Now, in case you're new and you need some type of example on what I'm talking about here, we go back in time. We go back to the last time the 50 has crossed below the 200 for Nvidia, or you had a death cross on Nvidia. So right here, the 50 crossed below the 200 MA, and as you guys can see, let's zoom out so we can get a better idea. You absolutely plummeted, right? And of course, you had some bounces along the way. Even at one point, you attempted to bounce back above it, but regardless, you just tanked. You absolutely tanked, right? And so I want you guys to, enjoy the upside. Enjoy the upside. I can't say for sure where Nvidia is going to go, but what I will say is as long as stays above 118, you could be looking at a move towards 127, right where the 200 MA is, right? Ultimately, I just want you guys to be careful. And of course, it's not only Nvidia that's bothering me. We got to look at the semiconductor ETFs. It's also important to note that you are rejecting the rising wedge pattern. This was another thing that was bothering me when it came to Nvidia. This is actually a little bit off. Let me zoom in. Here we go. So you are rejecting this rising wedge pattern, right? So something to keep in mind. Again, we're still above 118. Pretty decent sign, pretty good sign. I would argue that this is a dark cloud cover, so you could see more downside, but ultimately, you really want to be careful here. Death cross, very rare, but very bearish sign. Okay, we look at the semiconductor ETF SMH, the same thing. You have a death cross. You have the 50 crossing below the 200 MA. Not a good sign. We go back in time. We're gonna do it again. Last time SMH had a death cross, look what happened. All right, you retested the 200 MA, you got a little bit above it, and then look what happened. You broke completely down, guys. All right, so that's just my warning there. Okay, you do what you want with this information. Again, enjoy the upside. I do think we're going to see a little bit more upside, but ultimately, I think a much bigger drop is coming just based off what we're seeing on semiconductors and semiconductor ETFs. It's also important to note that Nvidia does have a conference like every day this week, right? So something to keep in mind here, but yeah, not looking good. I just closed Discord because I know somebody's gonna be like, "Yo, the bell sound on your Discord." Yeah, I know. All right, I just closed it, so we don't have to hear it no more. But yeah, they're looking okay for the short term. Okay, they're looking okay for the short term. But when we're looking at the daily time frame, it's looking like something bad is about to happen. All right. Now, one thing we know about April is that that's where tariffs are supposed to happen all over again, right? We do know that much about April. And I will say this, we're not going to go over quant data today, but I will say that there are a lot of puts being loaded up for April 17th specifically, right? So I want you guys to be prepared. We're going to go over quant data in another video, but I just want you guys to lock in and just really hear me out because I know a lot of you are like, he's a perma bear. I promise I'm not. I just look at everything. Okay, I look at everything, and it's important for you to look at everything. And I just don't like what semiconductors are doing or semiconductor ETFs are doing. Right now, we're at resistance, right? We haven't rejected it on SMH, right? We haven't really rejected this resistance here at around 229, 230 psych level, but we did close below it. Nvidia, we rejected the rising wedge pattern, right? We didn't have some massive breakdown, but it's important to note that we did reject this trend line, and we could head lower, and this could, keep the market from going higher, or it could absolutely tank the market. We don't know yet, but it is important to note that Nvidia does have the power to change everything, right? To just turn the whole market around. Not even the whole market, but at least the tech sector around. Now, in terms of how high Nvidia can go, because again, Nvidia has a conference every single day this week, so news can easily change things, right? 227 is one of my targets if we're talking about upside when it comes to Nvidia. Highest we can be looking at is this trend right here. As you guys can see, we made a high here, lower high here, lower high here. So highest we could go is about 130, between 130, 135, wherever this trend ends. Whenever we hit this trend, that's where I imagine Nvidia is going to reject. Okay, I still think Nvidia is heading to 100. Okay, nothing's changed. We still have gaps to the downside. We still have fair value gaps here. I mean, you can see it clear as day here as well. You got like a minor little gap here, but ultimately I still think Nvidia is going to hit 100. We got pretty close, 103, but I think we're going to pinpoint 100, guys. Okay, I want to make that clear. So again, enjoy the upside while it's here. I was going to make the thumbnail like completely different. I was going to put like death cross. It was going to be some clickbaity thumbnail, but I'm like, you know what, I want everyone to enjoy this upside, okay? But ultimately, even if I did make that thumbnail, the point still remains. We made a death cross, right? So it's not really clickbait. I really talk about my thumbnails, right? But you want to be careful here, okay? You really want to be careful. I would not be getting calls on Nvidia here. I will wait for Nvidia to at least break back into this trend, if anything, and then I will wait for SMH to at least get above 230. SOXX daily time frame. I don't know how I didn't notice this before. I guess because I don't look at SOXX. I look at SMH more than anything, but SOXX also made a death cross as well. Now, this one is playing out a lot better, or a lot sooner, I should say, than everything else. But this is something you want to pay attention to. Remember, I told you guys about SOXX. It always consolidates and then it tanks. Or it'll make a move up and then it'll tank. It always does this, right? So something to keep in mind. So right now, it looks like SOXX is simply going to retest about 210, and then from there it could tank. All right, so I think upside is going to be short-lived, right? Depending on how fast we get to those targets I was talking about, and maybe we don't get to those targets. Maybe semiconductors just absolutely ruin everything for everybody, because again, Nvidia has a conference every day this week. But if Nvidia and the semiconductors can join this rally, or whatever, this pump towards the upside, dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call it, I would be more comfortable getting calls. But at this point, it's really hard to do that when semiconductors are doing this and can easily just rug pull us, right? Just rug pull everything. So again, be careful. Okay, just simply be careful. VIX. VIX, it's also important to note that downside looks very limited on the VIX. Now, can we just absolutely destroy this trend line here? Let's actually go to the weekly time frame so you guys can get an idea where this is coming from, in case you're new to the channel. You look at the weekly time frame on the VIX, and remember, I talked about this. The VIX, every time the VIX broke above this trend or attempted to break above this trend, it rejected. You rejected here, rejection here. You see it all in this area here. And then when it finally broke above this trend and it hit like 65 in one day, it bear stepped in and it immediately rejected back down and got right back below this trend, and then it did the same thing here. Well, this time you finally broken above this trend line, right? You finally broke and closed above this trend line, and right now it looks like all the VIX is doing is simply retesting this trend line. So at any given moment, the VIX can just do this, right? It can just boom. So again, be careful. Okay, be careful with this upside. This is the type of market, and this is not me trying to fearmonger. I promise. This market right now, with our president and just the random news and everything like that that keeps coming out, you have to take profit. Like, you just have to take profit, right? You can't, it's really hard to hold anything to the upside for a very long time, right? Even to the downside sometimes, ultimately you just have to take profit, guys. I'm even like considering our profit taking target in the Discord, just dropping it to like 20%, because that's just how bad it is, right? And you have some things that look really good for the upside, like the SPY, right? We talked about the weekly time frame and how this reversal pattern is forming on the SPY on the weekly frame. And then even the triple Qs, you have the same thing. But then when you look at semiconductors, it's like, hello, are you guys going to join in? We're pumping to the upside. What are we doing here, right? And we have somewhat of a piercing line pattern here, but again, it looks like upside is very limited, right? Depending on your perspective, maybe a move to 127 is great for Nvidia, but regardless, I mean, once you get in the territory of these guys, and just in case you don't know, we're looking at Nvidia now again because I went through like 5 charts in like a minute, but right here, we talked about this in the last video, right? These guys right here. So even if Nvidia pumps, right, let's say it just gets up here, I think this is a perfect opportunity to short. I really do. You're right here where these guys are. Lower high, high, lower high, lower high. Bears are clearly in this area because every time we dropped here, right? So you will be, once you get in this territory of Nvidia, within Nvidia, you're in a range of these guys right here. Not only that, but you have the potential to create another lower high right here. So that's what I'm hoping for with Nvidia. I think this will be I would think this would be a perfect opportunity for Nvidia shorts, if not here, right? If you want to like take a chance here, do what you want. Okay, do what you want. I'm not telling you to take shorts here or anything like that. This is just something I would be considering. Either shorting here, because as you guys can see, bounced here, you had a little fake breakdown, but ultimately you bounced, right? And you're somewhat rejecting here. The week isn't over, right? So that's what I'm looking at when it comes to semiconductors and just the overall market, right? You really want to be careful when it comes to upside. Again, you got to take profit. Like, you just got to. You really have to. Unless you just don't care or whatever the case may be, or maybe you just have like some, a better strategy than I do, that's fine. But ultimately, you just have to take profit, especially as long as we stay below the 200 MA, right? We're below the 200 MA on the SPY, the triple Qs. As long as we stay below this, I mean, it's really hard to get overly excited about upside because right now we're at 567 on the SPY. The 200 MA is not too far away, guys. I mean, you're at five. You're talking about 572, 573, and then we can possibly just boom from there, right? So that's all I really have. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. FOMC minutes is Wednesday. I probably won't make a video tomorrow because of that news that's coming in on Wednesday, and I don't want to like jump the gun. We'll see. It depends on if something like really shows itself to me. Like maybe institutions just go absolutely crazy. Tesla. Actually, let me talk about Tesla. Let me talk about Tesla because something like this was crazy. Something absolutely crazy happened today, and I just said I wasn't gonna go over quant data, but I got to talk about Tesla real quick, guys. The puts that just came in for Tesla is absurd. There were puts that came in, and I'm hoping it's this one. Please let it be this one because I don't. Yeah. Holy March 17th. This was loaded up today. 12. Yeah, 12 Eastern time. Right. You scroll over. Tesla May 2nd, 2025, 225 strike puts. I'm sorry, I'm very tired, so I'm sorry if I'm rambling and skipping over my words and things like that. I woke up way too early. Okay, puts they were loaded up at 234 on Tesla. You see the quantity, right? They were at the ask, so that means they bought them because you guys asked me, did they buy or sell them? Like, if it's at the ask, they're buying them, guys. All right. And the premiums, 1 million premiums just all over the place. 1 mil, 1 mil, 1 mil, 1 mil, 1 mil, 800K, 700K, 700K. I mean, that's insane, right? They're loading up tons of puts, and the expiration is pretty dated. But regardless, with that premium, I imagine this is going to play out soon. Tesla's going to tank again soon, right? But as long as it holds 220, I think you're fine. It also broke this trend right here, but as long as it stays above 220 overall, I think you're fine. You could see another bounce on Tesla. 234 is your key level. I said this in the Discord. As long as you stay above these guys, you're okay, right? But right now, Tesla's just trading in the range between 234 and 240. As long as it stays in this range, there's not much I can give you. But once it gets below 234 and actually closes below 234, I think you're going to see these play out. All right, so let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below because this was insane. Yeah, Tesla just can't get no love lately. Until the next video, traders, Discord link is in the description below. You have a good one.